Hey, welcome guys to the Musings of Maverick channel. It's your host Maverick, and today we are starting a brand new series. It is the return of Zombieland Saga with its sequel, Revenge, right? So there might be some new viewers here, so let me just quickly break down how I typically do my videos here, right? And of course, you're welcome to go watch my original reaction to the original series as well, although more on that in just a second, right? So, typically I always structure my videos into 3 different parts. At the beginning, I'll have a sort of like an introduction or a recap of the last episode, something of that nature. In the middle will be my blind reaction part, where you guys can watch along as well. And then at the very end there, I will have what I call my musing section, where I go a little bit more in-depth in terms of the episode or the series, if they make any references that I do know about it, and I'll try and bring out some discussion points, right, to the best of my knowledge, and etc, etc. And of course, you guys can give feedback as well. I find that makes the entire experience a lot more interesting to everybody involved. And of course, they'll all be timestamped below, so you can just jump to whichever part that you please. So, going back to what I was saying about the original series, hey, actually, this series is very special to me because it's the reason why I started this YouTube channel and started doing these videos in the first place. That's right, guys. I decided to open my YouTube channel and do reaction videos on anime because of Zombieland Saga. Now, this was back in 2018, I think October or something of that sort, and basically I was searching on the web, on YouTube, in regards to seeing, how others thought about the series and whatnot, and let's just say that I wasn't quite satisfied, right? I do feel that a lot of, I'm not going to name any names or whatnot, but I do feel like a lot of people kind of missed the point, especially if you maybe don't understand Japanese idol culture all that much. Now, I don't pretend to be an expert on this subject, but there was a time period in my life where I got really into Japanese idols, particularly the so-called alternative idols, which, in a sense, is what Zombieland Saga is what French Shushu are, right? They are alternative idols, right? And when we talk about mainstream idols, we're talking about, in the past, it would be like the morning musume groups, the AKB groups, and derivatives, the 48 derivative groups, and of course, nowadays, the 46 and 46 derivative groups are even more popular and whatnot, Nogizaka, and so on and so forth. And then beyond all that, you have what is called alternative idols, right? They're not as mainstream, they're not as big, they have their own quirks and tendencies and whatnot, and, basically, if you have any sort of liking, if you have any, maybe you're more interested in rock music, well, there are rock music inspired idol groups. If you're into metal, there's metal music inspired idol groups, and so on and so forth, right? Indeed, Zombieland Saga, French Shushu, they kind of played around with a lot of these ideas as well, and I feel like a lot of people did not appreciate it, and instead just thought of it as, what the heck are they doing, and so on and so forth. So, anyways, long story short, I decided to do my own series and my own discussions on it, and so I actually started in the middle of the series. So if you go back and check out my older videos, I think I started around episode 7 or something of that sort, so, unfortunately, it kind of defeats the purpose if I go back and do a non-blind reaction here. But anyways, all that being said, I do love this series. Now, I have to be honest, it didn't quite end the way that I hoped it would end. I feel like it kind of peter-pattered off at the very end there in terms of season 1. But hey, we have a season 2 now, so all is good, right? We can see what exactly they are up to for this one. There's already tons of theories out there. I haven't actually watched any of the PVs or anything, so, let's just get into it and see how it is, right? Of course, all of the cast are returning, and for me personally, I'm really looking forward to Mamoru-san's performance once again, and I think in terms of the rest of the staff, the director is the same, the series composition is the same, but I think they changed some of the art staff and whatnot, but overall, it shouldn't be too big of a difference. So, I think that is enough for an introduction. Let's talk more along the way. In any case, let's get right into the episode and see you guys in just a second. Alright, let's begin in 3, 2, 1, play. Woohoo! I have waited so long for this. Kojima, okay. Who are you? Oh, Mizuno. I. Huh? They're working? Wow. Huh. 'Okay. Is this like a long, long time into the future or something of that sort? Tatsumi-kun? Is this the... Okay, no, this is definitely not the opening. Ah, listen to the traditional chords there. Oh. Okay, what's happening here? They're all doing odd jobs to earn money, I guess? What kind of... Okay, I was just trying to see, like, is this an actual song or not? I mean, we can clearly see it's an actual song, but I mean, I highly doubt that this is the actual company song here. Although you never know, right? You never know. Especially with the way that Zombieland Saga does things. You know, you just might be able to go onto YouTube, search this song, and find the, you know, actual employees singing it, right? Alright. Okay, okay. So they're all working odd jobs. Alright. Of course, working for some funds or whatnot. It happens a lot in terms of underground idols, right? Those that haven't made their debut yet, they need to work these odd jobs to support themselves. Well, that's what she was in the past already. Out of that. I guess because they brought down the building, brought down the house. Ikimai Futo-san. Dun, dun, dun. I don't. Mm-hmm. Well, typically, you know. Okay. So basically, it was all on you. Well, there's a reason why typically for idol groups, you know, you go through the motion, you go through the steps, right? You know, you start out at like 100 people venues, move up to 1,000 people venues. And then one of the biggest jumps for, of course, a lot of idol groups and bands as well is Budokan, right? And part of the reason, beyond it being iconic, is because Budokan can host 10,000 people, right? Which is, quite a leap up from the other 1,000 people venues there. You've really let yourself go, man. So what does Tai do all day? Anniversary of our first show. Huh. And hey, at the end of season 1, we found out that this dude is doing this all for Sakura, right? Right. 30,000, that's like a dome capacity or stadium capacity. Which, even in Japan, there's very few idol groups that can pull that off. A death metal live? Oh, so the first anniversary of this. Okay. This dude. You have the patience of a saint, Sakura. Okay. In a hurry? Like, maybe... Okay! Let me guess right now. They only have a limited time to continue in this zombie form. And of course, I is the reasonable one. Didn't they do this before already in season 1? Like, raid his place? That was a guitar, right? Yep. Passion? Alright. So I guess that's gonna be the song for this episode, right? Uh-huh. Dramatic much, dude? But then again, oh, there we go. That's the key visual, right? Mm-hmm. Oh. Is this a policeman? Yeah, I believe so. Oh. Bye. Again, I personally feel like the only thing that would get him, you know, this distraught is that maybe, you know, they only have limited time left in their zombie form, in their revived form. I mean, that would be the logical conclusion here, but then again, when exactly has Zombieland Saga gone with the logical route, right? So let's see. That was some pretty weird animation with the hair there, but anywho. He's gonna show up at the end, I'm sure of it. Yeah, I would expect them to be booed at the beginning or something of that sort. I mean, how different is this from? You don't really need to talk about that, anyways. Okay, let me guess. They're going to bomb it at the beginning. Ugh. Genkai Zombie in Zombieland Saga.
花から無茶な話だったじゃねえか。ゾンビがアイドルをやるなんてな。サガン都市の子らだってきっと許してくれる。死んでなおいい思い出になりましたってな。
Look back on their undeath.
きっとほっといてもただのゾンビとして生きていくだろうよ。
Hmm?
生きていくってのは違う。
このプロジェクトは時間が限られているんだ。アイドル史上最大の失敗を喫し、莫大な借金まで抱え、こんな状態では到底間に合わないことぐらい。あなただって知ってるでしょ。
知らねえ。あの子らはお前に散々無茶を言われそれを乗り。
Okay? Actually, something else entirely.
無茶を言ってきたお前が無理だって言うんだ。そりゃ間違いねえんだろうさ。もともとお前のエゴで始めたことだ。お前のエゴで終わらせりゃいい。早く言いに行ってやれ。サガン都市の力は信じられねえ。サガン都市はもう終わっちまったんだってよ。
Reverse psychology. It's friendship shooter. Oh, this. Okay. Go! Of course. Is he too late though? How hilarious would it be if he gets hit by a truck now? Yeah, I think by the time he gets there, it's a little bit... Nope. Okay, this is the original song. So they still haven't sang their encore song yet. So he is going to get here at the last moment, eh? Die-hard fans, eh? Oh, doesn't hurt at all. It's a brawl now! And so they're gonna sing right now? These two versus the world? Right, just start, girls, come on! Alright. Well, I do have my light stick here, but I don't think, this is the, the right stage for this right now. Ooh, nice drop kick. Okay, a funky beat, eh? By the way, I do mute the songs because I don't want to get copyright struck. Revenge. Not bad. Mm. Yeah, but there's still a lot of people who are not that impressed. Which is actually, I think that's a pretty reasonable. Yeah, that's a pretty reasonable reaction, all things considered. It definitely didn't have the impact of, the original death metal inspired songs, right? Oh, he was back. Did you shave? Did you cut your hair? Yeah, he's back, dude. Good morning, Saga. Alright, see you guys after this. Well, guys, that was it for the first episode. Since how long has it been? 2 years and counting. For Zombieland Saga, and it started off with, I wouldn't quite say a bang, but it has some interesting plot points here. Now, obviously, trying to compare it with episode 1 of season 1 is kind of unfair because we got a lot of shock factors back in the first episode of season 1. And in this one, well, obviously they got themselves into some sort of situation. That's what's going to drive this season forward, right? Kotaro's insistence on them going to perform at the Ekimai Real Estate Stadium, and well, they bombed it, right? And it's not surprising that they bombed it. I was explaining this in the middle of the episode here, but typically for both for artists and bands and idol groups and whatnot, you have to work through the levels, right? Now, typically you go to some, you start out at some live houses, which hold about maybe 100 people, or at max maybe 200, 300. Slowly work your way up into the bigger venues, like the various Zepp branded, like Zepp Tokyo, Zepp Bayside, those kind of venues, which at most, the biggest of those might be something like 2,000, 3,000 people. And then there is a huge jump into the 10,000 mark here. One of the reasons why Budokan is considered a rite of passage for so many artists and bands and idol groups as well. For one, it's of course an iconic stadium, right? A lot of very famous big acts performed there and whatnot, so it is an honor and a privilege and all that good stuff. But from a more practical standpoint here, from a more practical viewpoint, the reason why it's so hard and why it's considered such a milestone is because you're making the jump from a few thousand people into 10,000 people, right? There are very few venues that have a size in between. There are a few that hold about like 5,000, 6,000 people, but those are pretty rare, honestly, pretty rare. So typically for a lot of people, the fact that they can perform at Budokan means that they've really made it big, right? They can attract a crowd of 10,000 people to go listen to them and buy tickets and so on and so forth, right? So that is, that is where you can really say that you've made it and you are in the mainstream now. Beyond that, then we have the stadiums and domes and whatnot, right? And these can range all the way from 20,000, like the Ekimai Real Estate Stadium that Franchishu apparently were trying to perform at, all the way up to about like 70,000, right? Such as the International Yokohama Stadium or the Kokuritsu, the national stadium, which I think was which is renovated for the Olympics, which unfortunately was canceled, right? So I'm not quite sure like how exactly its capacity is right now, but I think still about like 60,000 give or take, right? So this is like a huge jump forward. And let me make this clear here. There are very few acts in Japan that actually, very few idol groups that can actually perform at a stadium or a dome level, right? For every single idol group that you've heard of that's in the West or whatnot, those in the West would generally receive news of, those that get millions of views on YouTube for their music videos and whatnot. For every one of them, there's like 100 other idol groups in Japan. Like, there are thousands of idol groups in Japan. It's really hard to actually get a presence enough to get to that sort of level. For instance, those that actually follow Franchishu a bit more might know that they actually did a collaboration with a real-life idol group, Denpagumi Inc. Denpagumi Inc. I've actually followed for quite some time, and even them, I think they are I think they only have done Budokan level concerts before, right? So about at the 10,000 level. Could they make a dome debut or a stadium debut? Maybe. But even then, like, all I can say is it's really hard. And then Malcolmy Inc. are already considered one of the more established idol groups. Now, obviously, you got the 48 groups, the 46 groups, and whatnot. There's Momoyuro Clover Z, my personal favorite. They can also do these dome tours as well. And what's the latest, hottest group to come out of Japan? Niju, I guess. Though they haven't really done any lives yet, but I'm sure that if they wanted to, they could probably also host a live of that capacity. But even then, I'm pretty sure that their handlers, their producers or whatnot, will want them to start out a little bit more conservatively first to get a general idea and feel of of that kind of capacity and of that kind of concert. And I want to emphasize, it's not just the fact that you can sell out this kind of crowd, right? Performing at a venue as large as a stadium or a dome is completely different from performing at like a live house and whatnot. There's basically, you need experience, all right? You need experience. You need to know how to move on a big stage. You need much more personnel, honestly, if you do want to hold a concert of that kind of size. So obviously, Kotaro, not Kentaro. Kotaro is definitely being very unrealistic with things here. Like, even if this is an unrealistic anime and whatnot, it's still, they still need to sort of follow the real-life conventions, right? You don't just do a stadium or a dome show with one person there, and with people, and with your idols, right? Your girls who don't really have experience on this sort of big stage. So, yeah, anyways, there's obviously some sort of reason for Kotaro trying to get this out so quickly. Now, my personal guess was that it's because there is a time limit on the girls, like how long they can still be animated and whatnot. They didn't really seem to go that way, right? His dialogue with the bartender there didn't really reveal much, so potentially it might not be this case, but I don't know. At the back of my mind, I still feel like this might be the most reasonable and logical explanation here, that he's in such a hurry to get them going because he only has limited time with them or whatnot. But who knows? Maybe this Zombieland Saga project has some other there's some other like bigger thing in regards to all this, and that is why he needs to step on the gas and whatnot. So yeah, basically that was it for the entire start of this, and hopefully this gives you guys a bit more insight into like why this is such a big thing and why they failed so spectacularly, right? Because there's no question in my mind that they wouldn't have been able to do it. You don't just get there in one step. You need to take the steps to get there. You need to earn the experience points and whatnot. You need to know, right, how to perform on the big stage before you actually go there and perform. Beyond that, so about the actual episode at hand, obviously it's great to see all the girls once again. Personally, I would have enjoyed it even more if we could get them working their working their odd jobs and whatnot, see them interact with their coworkers, all the girls and so on and so forth. Instead, we got kind of like what I like to call a PowerPoint screen where we just show a little tiny bits of them doing their stuff, and of course having the Kojima company song there. Now, I did some searching, and I don't think this song is similar to the Chicken song from last season, where they actually took something that was originally there and then just made their own spin on it. I do believe this Kojima company song was specifically written for season 2 here. So, a bit unfortunate here, and do correct me if I'm wrong, right? But, my curiosity search into it, my background search into it, and also the composer of the song and whatnot told me that it's been specifically composed for Zombieland Saga. So, yeah. Now, as for the other song, Revenge, I like it. I do think it's more in the upper tier of the songs from franchises that I like, but obviously I do think the ending to it was quite realistic as well, right? It's definitely not such a banger as in all these metalheads and whatnot would be so impressed by it that they'll all be yelling and hooting and hollering and shouting encore and whatnot. So some of them were kind of impressed, right? But most of them were still like, meh, okay, that was pretty good, but still, this is not exactly what I want to see, right? So I find that to be pretty realistic, right? And then at the very end there, of course, with the Ohayo gozaimasu, well, it's just classic. It's just classic Hotaru, right? And it's good to be back. So anyways, I would say this is a pretty, pretty average debut for the first episode of the second season. So hopefully we will get some more interesting stuff happening later on, and perhaps a little bit more insight as to what the deal is with Kotaro and what exactly he's trying to do. So hopefully this was fun for you guys, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.